Yeah.
At least to
Oh, how going to the range has become a thing of the past, a fantasy, as it were.
Yeah.
In my wildest dreams, I remember going to the range and blowing through like several boxes of ammo without worrying about taking out a second mortgage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ammo prices on a couple sites did go down a little bit to about 70 cents. So maybe things will bounce back. We're just going to have to keep an eye out.
Yeah, I mean, they'll probably go up again because of the politics going on right now.
Yeah,
but that's typically what
about.
Happens whenever, like, a Democrat comes in anyways.
Yeah, because I remember for Obama, it was a big gun push. I couldn't buy guns at the time, but I do remember
there's a spike in prices every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that pretty vividly. I know my father is not a strong political person. I know he leans more to the right hand side of things, a little bit more traditional, a little bit more Republican, but he's not really a strong political person. But I remember even back when the Obama administration did take over, he actually opted to buy his very first firearm, which is interesting. And of course, with this year being the way that it is, whether it be out of panic from this thing, panic from that thing, whatever it may be.
Yeah,
I know a lot of first-time firearm buyers have entered into the market,
including Overseer. Yeah. My dad was
Overseer.
He was asking why, and I mean it's pretty. When you turn the news and you see these cities burning down.
Yeah.
And you have active calls for defunding the police, then yeah.
So
absolutely,
I hate to shut it down. I do kind of want to stay off the topic of real world politics.
Okay.
I just had a viewer leave, so.
Yeah. So politics aside.
Yeah.
There have been some real world events that have caused panic.
Yes.
Regardless, so we can leave it at that. But even pertaining to more along the, I guess if we're staying, you think we should just stay on the gear side, gear portion of
apocalypse, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is make some friends with skill sets.
It is somewhat relevant to the real world. So going back to medical equipment or safety equipment specifically, and this kind of ties in with the real world thing when it comes to masks. So in the picture on the screen, it's kind of covered by the text, but I've got a painter's mask. It's a painter's filter mask. Those filters are long not usable, but I've just got them on there because it looks nice. I do have usable ones though, but I think generally speaking, even if like the type of apocalypse doesn't involve like toxic gases and whatnot, I think it is a good thing to have.
Black mold, man, it's nothing to joke around with.
Yeah.
A lot of urban explorers use because with painter masks you can get filters that are specific for
asbestos, black mold, that kind of stuff.
Asbestos, something that's a little more like particulate.
A lot of them have those charcoal bits in them to filter out whatever it is.
Yeah.
Charcoal can also like for water. You can do the same thing with water.
It filters water.
Activated charcoal is also used for poison control.
Yep.
I'm not sure how much of it currently, but at least when I was in EMT training, that was it was essentially capsules of charcoal, like concentrated charcoal. Yeah, I would definitely consider some sort of mask. Some of the surplus stuff you can get is okay.
Yeah.
But honestly, like a painter's mask with a good seal, good filters, you'll probably be set.
One of the things I've learned is that as soon as you open the packaging for those filters, it's activated, basically.
Yep.
So if you need to put them away in storage, you need to have a plastic bag that is airtight, and you can put them in there. They won't be as fresh as they were originally, but they will last longer because they're in that bag.
Yeah. That's something kind of bringing into it, like when masks were very scarce,
which is
the very beginning. which is now. Well, no, that's what I used at the beginning.
Filters are
was that-
scarce.
Yeah, filters are becoming a little more scarce. What is it?
Because
But that's what I mainly used at the beginning.
I went and bought some extra filters, and there was only like one pack left.
Yeah,
at,
at
like,
Walmart,
Lowe's.
you used to be able to buy them regularly, but yeah, for months they're hard to find.
Yeah.
The mask.
It was gloves, masks, hand sanitizer, and toilet paper.
Toilet
Yeah.
paper.
And
Yeah, I
now
still
Amazon-
have my humongous box of nitrils that I've never really had to use.
I mean, they're handy to have even for like first aid stuff
Oh,
because
definitely.
people are gross,
Definitely.
and when they get gross stuff on you, you want to make sure you have gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I used to keep a personal box of nitrile for. I used to be an EMT as well. It was just in good practice to constantly have nitrile gloves, changing them out, this, that, and the third. And of course, with a new profession that I'm in, still using nitrile gloves regardless of the quote unquote state of the world, as it
Mhm.
were.
Yeah, it's good to have just again so something doesn't get in you or on you.
I'd
that
say-
you don't want it or on you.
I definitely say in terms of the relation to the gear for something like nitrils, if you can figure out a good way to store them that isn't like gonna kind of ruin them, I definitely
I mean,
recommend
regular-
having them in your kit.
Yeah, maybe not even for medical purposes, but having a good set of gloves with you if you're like scavenging, if you're
Oh, yeah.
out and about. Because especially when I was younger, if you get road rash on your hands, if you fall down and catch yourself and they get kind of cut up, it sucks.
Oh,
Holding
totally.
stuff is really hard. So actually, yeah, having a good set of like leather gloves, or they can be tactical gloves, or pretty much any gloves in general to your general kit.
Yeah.
I highly recommend.
Yeah,
it.
I go the old trusty route of the throwaway $14 mechanics gloves.
Yeah.
They might not last. They might not last super long now, but they're always just kind of I don't know. They kind of been a staple, you know. I've
Oh,
even
yeah.
in the airsoft world, you'll find a lot of people just run with those multicam mechanics gloves.
Yeah,
just
they'll
out and
run
about,
those,
you know.
or they'll run what I've got, which is like the padded or the rubber top
Yeah, the
gloves.
Oh, with the knuckles.
Yeah, or the
Those ones are-
knuckle,
those
the
ones are
hard
good, too.
knuckle ones. There's a lot of those. I will say the thing about the one I have with the kind of rubber topping is that when they get wet, you don't want to have them on anymore.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
really practical for that because the material it's a thicker type of cloth material. It works to keep yourself warm and everything, but
And protect.
and to generally protect you from blows and stuff, because of the padding on the top. Goes the same, I presume, for the knuckle gloves too, with the harder knuckle. But they're not as useful for if you're in like they get hot in the summer, and two, they aren't as good for like wet environments.
Yeah, they can get kind of bulky depending on if you're trying to do something that it requires a lot of dexterity.
Yeah, that's another
But
thing.
you,
That's what the
yeah, you still want-
fingerless gloves come in for.
yeah, fingerless gloves are thinner. They do make like some thinner gloves.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. Yeah, maybe even having multiple sets. Maybe having one for more winter, having one for more something if you're worried about getting your hands cut.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I was actually going to touch into that winter aspect because those thin ass mechanical
They
or
ain't gonna
mechanics
cut it.
gloves, I should say.
Oh,
That's
they're
not going to cut it. I mean, I speak from firsthand experience. Hand. But I do speak from firsthand experience. Yeah, those skinny ass mechanics gloves, they're good for regular utility use, and
Oh yeah.
I will say if they fit correctly, one thing that you have to consider if you are more of a gun head is the firearms manipulation portion of it as well.
Yeah, I have actually been
and
tempted
utility
to
use
cut
just
the
in
trigger
general.
finger off of one of my full gloves.
Oh yeah,
Just because.
I've opted to do that for a good portion of it.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm more of a right-handed individual, so
Yeah.
whatever I need to do with my right hand is that's where I cut the fingers off of.
Yeah, and then there's me, the lone lefty in the group and largely
You're the
in
right-handed or
society.
wrong-handed.
Not that I can't ambi a lot of things. I've been kind of training myself to ambidextrously use rifles and stuff, and pistols is not that hard to do it. It's mostly it's target acquisition. Like, I gotta remember which eye to focus through when I switch.
Yeah.
But once I get that down, I should be able to do it pretty quickly. But I have honestly been thinking about cutting off both pointer fingers on these gloves just so I don't have them get caught on like some of the triggers I have, because some of those triggers, like the VP9 trigger, is got like a safety trigger feature on it, and the material for the gloves will get caught in it.
Yeah.
And
I know HK is good for making pretty extended trigger guards, like double wide trigger guards, just in case you do have to use it in weather. I mean, I am a HK fanboy, but you know, the offensive pistol, as it were, the pristine class for the prestigious.